think when we do something like that.
What's up, fight fans? This is the Combat Connection, and we are live on the Cageside Press social media platforms. We have a loaded show for you today, breaking down last week's fights and looking ahead to Cejudo versus Song Yadong this Saturday from Seattle. Eddie, you were at this last week's fights on Press Row, and it was your birthday. What was your initial reaction to the fight card, and how was your weekend overall?
I'm old, and actually it was pretty good. For being a fighter, like everyone always craps on the Apex cards. No one likes the Apex cards for whatever reason. I don't care. I like Apex cards personally, but that's just me. It was dope though overall, and then like a lot of good fights in there. Main event was fucking wild. Co-main, I wouldn't say a coming out party, and it was kind of a weird fight for Zalal, but a lot of backstory on that I'm sure we'll get into as well. And so honestly, I enjoy any fights, but this one was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we'll start off with the main event from last weekend. Veteran Jared Cannonier gets it done, defeats the RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez by TKO in round 4. The official strike stats in this one, 109-95 for Cannonier. One takedown landed for Cannonier for 2 minutes and 17 seconds of control time. Eddie, I really think this one came down to RoboCop's non-experience in 5-round fights. We thought that he might come in there and be able to put Jared away early. But as it went into the later rounds, RoboCop really didn't have much gas left in his tank past about midway through the second. Did you see this one the same way? RoboCop running out of gas and not necessarily having that experience to get the job done against somebody that's a veteran like Jared?
He was letting up in the second round. It was really odd to see. Like first round, I mean, he dropped Cannonier twice in the first round, and so we were like, "Oh man, it's gonna be nasty," Excuse me, but I thought when he dropped him, I was like, oh, we should probably just go after him, get this first round knockout, whatever, and stake your claim for a title shot, sooner than later, right? Regardless of whether Rodriguez is RoboCop's ranked or not. Cannonier was number 7. Like it's not hard to be like, hey man, I just be number 7. What's up, man? Especially I just killed him in the first round. He didn't go after him. He tried to be patient, whatever. And in that second round, it just looked like he ran out of gas or took the foot off the gas. Maybe he realized I'm getting tired. I better slow it down. And Cannonier, Cannonier don't slow down. Cannonier has plenty of 5-round experience, so I think you're absolutely right. RoboCop did come out on Instagram and call it an excuse or whatever you want. Everyone have crowds with fighters, because of excuses and all that shit. But Rodriguez allegedly, or he said he had an issue recovering after his weight cut. Now he's 6'3", he's a big dude. I guarantee he walks around 200 stupid, like just cutting too much weight probably, right? Yeah. He cut down a lot. You can't recover after that hard weight cut. Hard to have that gas on fight night. And meanwhile, Cannonier's got all the experience. He's just like you said, all the experience in his 5-rounders. He knows how to cut weight and then get back up and everything. And regardless of what happened with RoboCop, he's lucky he's an up and comer because we can forgive this loss. Cannonier lost. The whole week he kept saying, "I don't like the word gatekeeper. I'm not even going to say it." He would have been 100% a gatekeeper had he lost his fight. Instead, you could say he actually stakes his claim to a top 10 fight.
Yeah, puts himself back into contention, certainly. And where he goes from here, he's going to have a big fight, whether it's against Paulo Costa or maybe I heard this week, the guys Anthony Hernandez and Brendan Allen both maybe want a shot at Jared Cannonier themselves after this fight. So I think there's a lot of good matchups there on the horizon for Cannonier. But with Rodriguez in this one, him being as credentialed on the ground as he was, I was a little confused that he didn't make that effort early to try and get the fight to the ground to preserve some of that gas tank for him later in the fight. Were you surprised there? I mean, he did try 2 takedown attempts, and Jared successfully scrambled back to his feet, got down on one, but, didn't count it for a takedown, got back to his feet. Do you think that, Jared just did so well early that RoboCop's like, well, the juice isn't worth the squeeze? Or do you think he should have tried more conservatively to try and get that to the ground?
I think RoboCop's strategy was jacked from the get-well, right? He just had the strategy was there to, put hands on Cannonier and look for takedowns. If they don't work, great. Let's go back to the hands. And then when you dropped them twice, I thought when he dropped them, like, all right, he's either going to rush in and try to finish it on the ground and pound, or he'll, at the very least, right, drop, get top position, and start working his jiu-jitsu and all that. And he didn't do either one. To me, it just seemed like he realized his body was failing him a little bit. And at the end of the first round, started the second, and he decided, like, shoot, I don't know what to do. Kind of like the plans go out the window. You're just trying to survive at that point. And, if you're in there, right, in the moment, you might get, your brain might get a little scramble. You don't even know what the hell's going on anymore. So I was surprised he didn't go to take it to the ground, or, or at least be more bullish about taking it to the ground if that really was his game plan. Mm-hmm. And He hesitated too much. That's how I'll put it. He hesitated way too much.
Now, for Cannonier, this is one of the biggest wins of his career. Who would you like to see him fight next? Would it be the matchup between Hernandez and Allen, the winner of that, Paulo Costa? Would you like to see him fight a guy behind him in the rankings, ahead of him in the rankings? What would you like next for Jared Cannonier?
I think Cannonier, at the very least, someone in the top 10. I know he's number 7. He's probably not going to move up or down. I didn't check the rankings yet, but I think somebody in the top 10, 100%. But it has to be somebody. I think if I'm him, I'm a little picky. It's got to be somebody who's going to get me. They're not going to give him the champion. They're not going to give him 1, 2, or 3 right now, right? Mm-hmm. So definitely in the top 10. But somebody that's going to, I hate this phrase with a passion, but move the needle. I hate that shit. But that you got to have someone that moves the needle. Someone that goes, man, Jared beat who?
Yeah.
Paulo Costa's that guy, because Paulo Costa is a tough. I don't give a shit what ranking or not ranking he has. He is a tough son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm. He's at 11 right now, so he's right outside that top 10. I think that that's close enough to where you can match these guys up, and it'd be a pretty fan-friendly fight too.
And Costas fought 5 rounds, and whether it was war every time he did it. So why not?
Yep, and we'll have to see. There has been some problem with him making the weight class, but if he's able to make 185 pounds, that's certainly a great fight. But moving on to the co-main event, we had Yusuf Zalal defeating Calvin Kattar by unanimous decision. I really enjoyed this fight, Eddie. It looked like Zalal's movement and speed through the first 2 rounds were too much for Kattar, but Kattar battled back in that 3rd round. I had him winning that 3rd round, as did the judges, and I think everyone watching as well. The total strikes in this one were 75-38 in favor of Zalal. No takedowns landed by either guy, and as I mentioned, I thought Zalal really got this one due to the elite movement and elusiveness. It didn't look like Calvin Kattar could really put together punches on him. And Kattar is somebody who's known as a great boxer himself. So if you have that type of movement against somebody like Calvin Kattar and can move out of the way of his attacks, I think that Yusuf Zalal has a very high potential moving up the weight class here. Yeah,
I think Calvin had such a hard time. Kattar had such a hard time cutting the cage off. He just couldn't do it, right? Like some of the comments are funny, but the dude should be running track instead, should have played dodgeball. Yeah, but that's the fight game. Go get
Floyd Mayweather. He's the highest paid guy that's ever lived. Floyd Mayweather,
Yeah, but forget all that. Forget every part of that. What should you do? Stand in front of him? Kattar, he might not be the best boxer in UFC, but he can fucking hit. You know what the last thing I'm gonna do if I'm fighting Kattar? Stand in front of him like a fucking moron. What the hell kind of comment is that bullshit ass? Sorry, it makes me mad because Salal's strategy worked, right? He made Kattar chase. Kattar could not cut the cage off for his life until the last round. Right. And that's what it is. We cannot expect these guys to go into wars every single time. You know what Zal's going to have? He keeps fighting like this a long damn career, especially if he keeps winning. Okay. So y'all need to chill the fuck out with all that whole, just stand in bank, bro. No, just go back and watch freaking Tank Abbey, morons. But outside of that, Zalal looked good. His movement was good. He was a sniper with the hands and everything when he needed to. And he avoided most of it. Kattar, he really went all hard that last round. I thought he got the round as well, but but either way, Kattar,
I was really impressed with Zalal though, and he didn't even show his ability on the ground in this fight. He had 4 submission wins in a row, 6 straight before coming into this one. And honestly, what he showcased after the fight, he has a great personality on the mic. His interviews are great. I think he's somebody you could have up on a desk later in his career and could break fights down.
Sure.
He's very intelligent. And to what you mentioned about his game plan and the guys might not necessarily liking it, that was the correct game plan. That's how you fight Calvin Kattar. That's how you fight an aggressive boxer who comes forward. If you go and look at guys like Randy Brown, you go and look at guys like Israel Adesanya, they really use their movement. And Zalal did that, stayed away, used the jab, leg kicks, was the more effective fighter and put volume on Calvin Kattar, especially in those first 2 rounds. So impressive win by Yusuf Zalal. Is there anybody just at the top of your mind that you'd like to see Zalal fight next?
Somebody as fast as he is or quick. I don't care who it is. It's someone as quick as he is. That'd be wild to see those dudes just featherweights flying around the cage. I can't think of a name off the top of my head, honestly. I'm if you do, great. But real quick point on the whole game plan thing. Not everyone's going to fight like Max Holloway, right? Zalal knows that. He can't fight like Max Holloway. He doesn't have the same physical attributes and all that. So it was a smart game plan for him. As far as Zalal, he's not ranked yet, right?
No, I think that he probably – well, they came out with it on Tuesday, so we'd have to look it up here.
Here, I'll look it up for you. Let's see. But either way, give him someone that can move like he does. Someone – make it a fun, if anything, wild As he commentators 14, uses 12. So 12, he jumped him.
Where's Dan Ige?
Dan Ige's 15. That's a good fight. Zalal Ige?
I'd like it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Zalal Ige, maybe. I don't know if Aljo would take this fight. I don't know if Zalal would take this fight. Aljo, Zalal.
Yeah, either of those would be good. Yusuf Zalal has massive potential, though. I think that he could be a top 5 guy eventually in his career. Whether he can take the fight to the ground against, aggressive strikers or, stand and do what he did this weekend against grapplers. I think he's very well-rounded and someone that we're going to have to look out for moving forward in this weight class. So a great win by Yusuf Zalal.
Real quick, because I saw in your notes you want to talk about the why they weren't all friendly.
Yeah. What was going on here? What was the beef between these guys? It looked like Zalal didn't even talk afterwards. He mentioned somebody's girlfriend or something from the camp, maybe saying some words.
Yeah,
you got some inside scoop on that?
I got a clip. Turn your volume down a tiny bit. Oh, I don't got a clip. My bad. I thought it's on my other computer. My fault, guys. Let me see if I can pull it up because I would love if they have it. Hang on a second. Might be. Oh, yeah. Turn your volume down a little bit, folks, because especially if you have earbuds on, because this shit's going to be loud. But he did talk to us about exactly why there was a little bit of animosity. Here we go.
If it's his girl or his family or whatever the hell it is, man, don't be running your fucking mouth when you're not fighting. You know what I mean? They'll be like, it's light work and this and this and that. Light work my ass, huh? You can find out my little Pikachu ass you can't even fucking catch, but I'll find out about that. So just remember that. That's just my message. So I hope they watch this and they can go cry about it or do nothing about it. I'm not the type of person trying to brag about this, but don't disrespect this sport. This sport it's very humbling and very dangerous. So I'm one of the most humble people in this fucking division. So don't come at me that way and test my African ass come out. So don't do that. This is at the weigh-ins, bro. I'm sitting there. We're having a great time. You know what I mean? I'm being respectful and all that stuff. And I got my jiu-jitsu coach, my professor saying, "Let's go UC." That's my nickname they give me. It's UC. And then all I hear is light work, light work, light work. And I said, okay, bet. All right, and let's see how light work this shit is. It might as well call me fucking heavyweight now.
Yeah. So by the way, after he says that whole might as well call me heavyweight now, he goes, they liked it, right? If you watch the actual post fight, that was me and one of my friends losing our shit in the back because he was like, might as well call me heavyweight now because he had told us about it before he talked about it in front of the mic. I was dying. I was like, oh, he did it. Holy shit. Anyway, that's what it was. Zalal is a super nice guy. Like he said, super humble. You talk shit to a guy like that, he gonna hold it. So yeah, it is what it is. I don't know. We haven't gotten Cater's side. We're not gonna get Cater's side. And so because he lost. So there you go.
Yeah, it shows the personality. Yusuf Zalal, a star in the making, probably here in this division moving forward, and certainly someone to keep an eye on. But someone who'd really turned back their career this weekend and made a big statement win was Edmen Shahbazyan. Edmen Shahbazyan defeats Dylan Butka, who unfortunately has been released by the UFC post this performance after he lost by knockout in the first round. Is Edmen turning the corner here, Eddie? He really has grown up in the UFC. We saw him fight, extensively from the ages of 23 to 27, now at 27 years old. This was a master performance, pullback right hand that was picture perfect, laid Butka out, and that was basically the end of the fight. I think that Edmen Shahbazyan's turning the corner here with Eric Nixick and the guys down at Extreme Couture. He's got a wealth of experience to rely on. And he still has not entered his physical prime at 27 years old. How impressed were you with Shahbazyan, and do you think he's turning the corner as well?
I think Shahbazyan got – this is not to take away any credit from him, okay? Everything you said is true. Working with Nixick, working with all the guys in Extreme Couture, including Strickland, okay? All these other guys, it's really helped him grow and mature. He's been in the UFC for 7 years now, something like that, and we still talk about him as a new guy. It's really wild, but – without taking away credit from and everything you said is true, this is a step down in competition. Dylan Butka had no business being in there at all. I mean, watching the fight, right? But watch his previous fights. Dylan Butka is not even taking on a guy like Edmen at all, right? So Edmen looked great. Now, kind of bump him up, right? Get a good even matchup for him and see how he does. And that's where I'll pay attention. All right, this is a nice little warm-up fight, but we need somebody that's going to test him, and he needs to, test his metal on the fire.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll see him as he moves up the weight class rankings and gets closer to a top 15 spot there. He'll certainly get matched up with guys, maybe the Michelle Pereiras of the world, guys like that moving forward. But big win for Edmund Shabazian. He gets it done in impressive fashion with a slick right hand and gets a win and moves ahead in the middleweight division. Moving down the card here a little bit, one fight that I did want to talk about, we were split on this one. You had Chaos Williams and I had Bonfim. Gabriel Bonfim gets a submission win over Chaos Williams in round 2. It was a beautiful Darce choke, and you posted the finish on your Twitter, Eddie. This was one of the most violent submission victories that we've seen in recent memory. I'll go over the statistics here real quick before we get into it. 35 strikes landed for Bonfim, 23 for Chaos Williams. 4 takedowns landed for Bonfim, good for 1 minute and 42 of control time. What'd you think about the finish here? It was nasty.
Put him to sleep, dude. Like, first of all, it was tight. And in the media room, we happened to have the audio on for the commentary while that fight was going on. And then and they were like, oh, well, we don't know if it's tight. I don't know. I think there's room. And I remember sitting back there going, that shit is tight as fuck. Like, I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. And I'm not saying they don't know what they're talking about. They 100% know way more than what I do, right? They forgot more MMA and martial arts than I even know. How fucking ever. That shit was tight. And so I was like, there's no way Chaos is still here. And when they pulled him off and Chaos was like, eyes rolled back, I'm like, damn. Like, we were all in the media room like, holy shit. Like, that was wild. So awesome. Massive win for Bonfim, not just because he beat Chaos Williams, but the manner in which he did it and on a fight night where everybody saw it. And it was all over the internet. I don't know if you saw that post. That was the UFC's post. I just reposted. Beautiful finish for him. And luckily, one of the 2 Bonfim brothers won their fight because the other one didn't.
Yeah, Ismail, there was a doctor stoppage there against Nazim Sadiakov, the Ray Longo fighter, ends up getting the job done. But Gabriel Bonfim here, he's got massive potential at this weight class. And one of the things that really stuck out to me in this one is that he didn't look bad on the feet versus Chaos either. He really used the jab. He stayed out of the dangerous spots when Chaos would throw big right hands or looping hooks. Didn't let him land the big strike on him, and used his ground game in times to throw Chaos Williams off as well. So a very well-rounded performance, and I was impressed with his striking. Were you, Eddie?
I thought it was great. I thought it was very much improved from last time, right? Like, the reason why his brother was up in the main card and he wasn't is because his brother's clearly more, advanced in basic aspects. Gabriel's clearly been working on it, so he's definitely better. I'm impressed with it.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that he's got more potential moving forwm than his brother does.
I think
his brother's a little small for that weight class that he's currently competing at. And Gabriel's got a great frame here in the 170-pound division. But we're going to move along, guys, to some breaking news that we've had over the last couple of days. BKFC, we've got news coming out of the PFL with Aaron Pico. And potentially the UFC has signed Patricio Pitbull. So a lot of news coming out. It sounds like Conor McGregor and them. We'll start with that. BKFC Italy press conference says that Fedor Emelianenko may be fighting in BKFC. He's trying to go after champions. I don't know if this was Conor on one of his drug-induced binges he's going and rambling on, but if Fedor competes in BKFC, that would be massive, and him versus Ben Rothwell would certainly be a fight to tune in for. If they can get him and get somebody of that stature in the BKFC squared circle, I think that's going to be a great accomplishment for Feldman and Conor McGregor as promoters.
Yeah, dude. Fedor is going to BKFC, and so is Maximus from Gladiator, and Leonidas from Sparta from 300, and fucking Jake Paul. Conor, relax with your shit. Stop throwing out big names to get attention.
He's just talking out of his ass?
He's talking ass, dude. Look, Fedor hasn't fought in forever. Now, if they throw a boatload of money at him, right? He still got the overhand, right? Why not, right? Mm-hmm. But there's zero indication that's even going to happen, right? Like, this is what promoters and salesmen do, okay? Throw shit out there, see what sticks. It's kind of how it works, right? Yeah, I don't think he talked to Fedor. I think maybe he sent him a DM, maybe, because he said, "Hey, Fedor, we're waiting. Like, we're waiting for you to answer my DM, bro. Come on, bro." Like, I don't believe it. I don't care, but I don't believe it either. If he does go, I'm definitely gonna watch. Holy shit! Like, I've met Fedor. That was fucking dope. Dude can't shoot a basketball worth of shit, but that's for another time.
Neither can McGregor. I don't know if you saw that Instagram video when he was at MSG.
Fedor was closer. Fedor was shooting threes. Okay. McGregor not even shooting from the fucking free throw line. Okay. not the same thing. But anyway, yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think BKFC's got a bright future.
Yeah, so do I.
You don't need to bring back ancient names for name value. You really don't.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do it, you need a guy that everybody knows. Okay. And how many people that have been watching for the last 5, let's say 10 years for that matter, know who the fuck Fedor is? Nobody. You might as well be called Tank Abbott. See if he wants to bare knuckle fight. You know what I mean?
You know, and Connor did also say in the same press conference that he would fight for free in the promotion. And there actually has been talks. I saw some Instagram post of potential trilogy with him and Nate Diaz. But that's got to happen in BKFC. If he's going to fight for free, I've been talking about it for the last 4 episodes. I'm probably going to write an article about it here in the next week or so. I think that's the obvious move for BKFC in McGregor's debut. Line him up with Nate Diaz. That would be a massive fight. But there's also, you know, some big news. Patricio Pitbull is somebody that we've both interviewed and covered in person. Looks like he's going to be signed by the UFC. There was an official, fighter profile made on their webpage for Patricio Pitbull. How, excited are you if this is official and he does fight in the UFC's bantamweight division or featherweight division? It depends on, what Pitbull really wants to do. But if we see him at 145 pounds here in the UFC, how excited are you? And do you think a matchup between him and Alexander Volkanovski is the right one to make? That's the one Pitbull has been calling for. If
you want to get Pitbull fucked up, first of all, no, I'm not saying that. I think Pitbull's really good, but Pitbull's up there in age, right? What is he, like 40?
He's getting close. I think he's like 36, and there's a lot of tread on those tires.
So he's a lot younger than I thought. Okay, fair enough. I thought he was like 41, 42. But anyway, no, first of all, it's not official. They made the profile, and I believe they pulled it down. The outlet that reported it took it back. And by the way, I forgot the outlet saying I'm sorry. I apologize to the outlet because I think it's a Japanese one, if I'm not mistaken. But they very professionally took it back. Like, that's how you do it. You know what I mean? Not like all these other assholes are like,
oops, my bad.
Well, the guys on Twitter that pay fighters for breaking news and shit, those clowns, and then they get it wrong or they screwed up or whatever, they bullshit. They're like, oh, well, I'm just gonna quit media, fuck it. But that kind of bullshit, what I'm talking about. But they handled it really well. It's not official yet, but damn, I hope it is. I hope. No, Dana, I saw it on UFC's Twitter. I get the notifications and everything, but Dana's going to have some kind of announcement tonight on his Instagram. Whether or not that's going to be Patricio Pitbull joining, I fucking hope so. Because if he announces that signing, he has a fight already, right?
Yeah. What if he brings over Pitbull and Pico? Because we got to talk about Pico a little bit too. He's kind of had some public disputes with Don. He said, Don, you're kind of leaving me out in the woods here. I don't know why I'm not getting fights. I don't know why I'm not getting contacted. In the end of the day, though, it looks like the PFL does have the matching offer, kind of like some NBA contracts back in the day where one team can let you go to free agency and then they can match depending upon whatever someone gives you when you're out there at market value. It looks like they have the final say here on whether they will match with Aaron Pico. But do you think the UFC – here's my thing with the UFC. The UFC normally has these guys filter in through Dana White's Contender Series or through something, and they try and get them on these 10-10, 12-12, 20-20 contracts. That's not going to happen with a talent like Aaron Pico, right? But you got to give him so much money to where you price PFL out in this type of situation. So I'm interested to see if the PFL matches, and do you think the UFC gives Pico the money that he wants?
First of all, on the Pitbull things, there's remember something. I'll tell you right now. If Dana White starts tonight's announcement with we have signed Patricio Pitbull, I pretty much guarantee it's going to be Volkanovski. Volkanovski's waiting for a matchup, and he said as much. He goes, something in the works, but I don't know. You know what I mean?
That's a fantastic fight.
I think that'll be the fight. If they announce him tonight saying they signed him, that's got to be the fight. As far as Pico goes, this is the scummy work of Don Davis again. Right now, I'm not saying it's scummy. He's not wrong. Right? That happens everywhere. You can match. The problem is, you're going to match what the UFC pays them and then leave them on the shelf anyway? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't match a contract, you can't fucking pay for it. This is the problem with MMA contracts as a whole, is that they guarantee fight offerings. They don't guarantee fights. Now, that's a UFC contract and some other ones. I don't know how the PFL ones go, but clearly they don't get offered shit, right? If you're going to match Aaron Pico, you better give him some fights. But that's not going to happen. Don Davis has proven he's not going to do that. And as far as the UFC paying him, they're not going to pay him more than the PFL can afford. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. And I just saw an interview with Pico today, before I bring this up, he said that he had 3 or 4 fights canceled that he thought he was booked for and training for. He said that he actually almost had his fight canceled with Henry Corrales, the rematch on that Bellator versus PFL card. But thankfully Henry came in and got that one done. Excuse me. But Aaron Pico to me right now is probably one of the most talented prospects on the free agency market. A great wrestler, dynamite in his hands.
Yeah.
We saw what he did against Henry Corrales last time out and against others in Bellator. And when he was younger, obviously he ran into some roadblocks, including Corrales. But, he's got a wealth of experience now behind him against top flight competition. He's been fighting since a very young age, trains out there with AKA, and I think he recently found a new home somewhere else as well. But Aaron Pico, to me, I want to see him in the UFC, man.
I want to see him in the UFC. He's still young enough to become like something, right? Now, if you see this poster here, he actually talked with, I think it was MMA Fighting, and he said, I'll say this, I'm not fighting for PFL. If I have to wait out a year to be free and clear, then I'll do it. That's a man that is standing on business, on his shit. He's like, I'm not messing around. Like I'm not fighting for you, right? If I'm Don Davis, like, do you really want a disgruntled fighter on your roster? Do you want a disgruntled player on your basketball, on your NFL team? No, you don't. That dude's a distraction, all right? We've already seen what the top fighters complaining on social media do, right? And I have a feeling Mr. Don Davis don't like to be embarrassed. And these guys went out there and embarrassed the shit out of him to the point where he felt the need to come out and defend himself. And he fell on deaf ears.
I think this is the last thing Don wants. Don does not want publicly shamed by any of these guys. He's in a new business. He's in a new field. And the last thing he wants are his top talent sitting there publicly spewing that things are, wrong in-house. Right? That's a bad look for him. He knows that business-wise. And I think it's why he's kind of been a little bit more quiet. He doesn't want to go and fight in public some of these battles that can maybe be won behind closed doors, which is smart. But Eddie, as I look at it, the PFL just announced their 8 tournaments coming out with the weight classes, and the women's flyweight division came out, but no Dakota Ditcheva in the women's flyweight division. What does that mean to me? That means that at most Dakota Ditcheva is going to fight 2 times next year and maybe defend some type of world championship belt that they bestow upon her after winning last year's tournament. But what that means for fight fans is that they do not get to see one of the most talented women in the world fight 3+ times next year like they did last year.
Yeah, here's the thing about Don, we gave you free game and you're fucking it up again. Let her fight the tournament. It's the only name you got. It's the only marketable star you got. Name another one. Now, you're going to shelf her? Really? She could easily do 4 fights in a year and be fine. Yeah. Why the hell are you going to shelf her for 2 of them? Maybe even
you have her fight outside the tournament.
And that's the other question. Who do you even have for her? You have nobody. The answer is nobody. Okay? Like, if you ask me, the answer is nobody. There's nobody. Okay? Dakota's better off at GFL at this point. The way he's fumbling the fucking bag, right? And so I think it's a stupid move. Plain and simple. Stupid move not to have her in the tournament. Your only marketable option. Now, who's anyone going to give a shit about in the tournament? It's a hard tournament to give a shit about already. Okay.
I mean, there are some good, I want to see her fight Liz Carmouche. That's the matchup that I still wanted to see. The veteran Carmouche, former UFC title challenger, Bellator champion, very well-rounded, gritty competitor, great wrestler too, might be having the tenacity to get Dakota to the cage and on the ground and keep her there, something that Jenna Bishop did but was unable to keep her on the ground. I think that Liz Carmouche is the matchup that I would want to see with Dakota Ditcheva, but we're not going to see that when Liz Carmouche has to go through an entire tournament. Now, what they may do, Eddie, and I think this might be one of the dumber options, is that they might let this tournament play out. Say Liz or Tyler Santos wins the belt, and then they have her defend that against Dakota Ditcheva at the end of the year, have some type of champion versus champion matchup. I don't know what they're going to do. If I'm out there at Universal Studios for their first card, I'm going to ask them what their plans are with Dakota Ditcheva. I think that's probably the number one thing that PFL fight fans want to know right now. But, it's murky waters out there for the PFL. Their top stars are leaving. Their stars under the promotion are not fighting. So we'll have to see what 2025 holds for them. On
that point, I want to ask you something because I've been thinking about this since all these fighters wanted out. What did PFL actually get by absorbing Bellator?
I think they got some mid-tier not to call them mid-tier fighters, but they got like the Jeremy Kennedys of the world. It looks like they're going to be letting Johnny Eblin's, been voicing off on social media as well, saying he doesn't know what's going on. The top champions are going to leave. Eventually, the top champions are going to leave. I think that they got a couple fighters like the Yagshimuradovs, the guys Kizriev. Kizriev's huge. I don't even think they know what they have in Kizriev. But he's somebody who in the future is probably going to go somewhere else as well. But he's a great guy. I think some of these mid-tier guys from Bellator, some of the up-and-comers, some of the veterans, that's kind of what is sticking right now with the Jeremy Kennedys and the Kizrievs and those type of guys. But the top flight talent, it looks like, is fleeing at a moment's notice. So
that's the problem. That's the problem right now. You absorb Bellator. I know they didn't technically spend any money. They give stock options and scummy ass whatever the fuck they did with that they other people accepted. But but what Don Davis effectively has done with absorbing Bellator, which was a much better roster than what PFL had back then, let's be honest, is he went fishing in Alaska and caught the most delicious salmon you could even ever see. Like the almost orange, bright, perfect. Right, froze it, flew back to wherever, but fucking hole he lives in. He put it out on his dinner table or on his kitchen to thaw out, and then he left for a month-long trip. Came back and he's like, "Well, I can't believe my salmon's all rotten. This is disgusting. I can't believe it." That's what he did. He let it rot. He let it rot by not cooking it. He let it rot by not giving Patricia Pitbull fights. He let it rot by not giving Patrick Mix fights, and Mix wants out now. He let it fight. You know what I mean? That's what he did. That's what he did with the whole thing. So what PFL actually got was nothing. They got nothing, right? Because eventually all these guys are going to leave, or anyone that stays is going to be, I hate to say it, mid-tier. Yeah. They're not going to the UFC. 99, I tell you right now, 90% of the PFL Bellator roster will never be signed by the UFC. Yeah. 90%.
No, you're talking about Usman, you're talking about Pico, you're talking about Pitbull, Eblin, Mix. That's what you're talking.
If I'm Dana, I start poaching motherfuckers straight up, right? Yeah. When the second these guys get released or whatever it is, I get me a Johnny Eblin and match him up with the top middleweights. I get me Impa back. Hey, I'm sorry, bro. I shouldn't have let you go. Coming back. I go get Dakota. I get Dakota and just kick Dom right in the nuts. That's what I do if I'm Dana, right? Yeah. Now if I'm gone, I put Dakota in my tournament. Okay. And then I start actually promoting some of these guys. I mean, dude, there's got to be money in the budget to get like an embedded style like thing going with these fighters. Get people to care about them. And I hate to say, I'm not talking about the Dagestani guys. I'm not talking about the Russians. I'm talking about the Impas. I'm talking about the Dakotas. I'm talking about anybody that is even close to marketable. Market them like your life depends on it.
Clay Collard, he's always in.
Clay Collard. Is Archie even on the roster anymore? Because I want Archie in the UFC.
That's what I'm saying. Like some of the young guys, I think that there is going to be top talent that they absorb, right? So like the Colgans, the Kizrievs, those type of guys, you got to hold on to them, and you got to identify right now that they're your people of the future in 2, 3, 4 years, and get them locked up under contracts, in my opinion. Because if you don't, they're gonna go off and ride into the sunset somewhere else, or they're gonna use you, get into one of your tournaments, win your tournament, and then go have a big payday somewhere else as well. So.
And I know I'm harsh on PFL, but I like we don't just want it. We need it to be successful. Yeah. We don't need it to be UFC. We don't need it to be 1B. So cut all that bullshit. You can be go for number 2 at least. Okay. All right. Because we need more places for these fighters to go. Like, what are you gonna do? Let's say a fighter signs with the UFC, right? Goes 1-4 and gets cut. Where are they gonna go? No one watches KSW because I love KSW, by the way, but no one really knows about it.
I watch it, right? But it's overseas,
Overseas. No one goes to Brave, right? I like watching Brave when it's on. I definitely watch it. One championship, I love watching that as well. They got their own
martial arts.
They got their own issues. Like all these places that are nowhere, that don't have the platform even PFL does right now. So they're letting the salmon rap, bro. That's what it is, and it's gonna be. I'm rooting for him, dude. I know. Again, I don't like the way Don's doing this shit, and anybody over there really. Right, but I really we need them to catch up, do something, because if you let this thing die the way it looks like it's going, you could only count on the Saudis for so long before you're gonna have to sell it to them. I think that's what's gonna happen. I think they're gonna fumble and they're gonna have to sell to the Saudis.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably is what is gonna happen.
And they'll probably run that right, by the way, because you see Turkey's killing boxing. Yeah, motherfuckers, let's go.
Yeah, he is. And we can talk about that real quick because we're going to break down the rest of the UFC card here momentarily, fight fans. But there is a massive boxing fight this weekend. Me and Eddie aren't the biggest boxing guys in the world. We're not aficionados by any means in terms of boxing. But Bivol versus Beterbiev 2 is coming out. The first time Beterbiev won a very close decision versus Bivol. And Bivol is obviously the last man to defeat Canelo Alvarez. So these are two great fighters, two pound-for-pound best in their prime. Beterbiev, I believe, is significantly older. And there were some injury talks about Bivol coming into the first fight. So presumably he is healed up and ready to go in this one. Are you excited, or are you going to give this one a watch after the UFC card on Saturday night?
I'll probably have it on my phone. I like Beterbiev. I like the way he fought Bivol. Now, I had it score for Bivol last time out, but it is what it is. I think it's a good matchup, man. I think the best part of that first fight had nothing to do with the fight. I think Bivol's ex-wife or ex-girlfriend or someone came out super salty, like, yeah, motherfucker, what's that? Like, that's some just like whack ass shit, but it made me laugh so hard. That's probably my favorite part of the whole thing. But it's a big fight, the title fight. Does Bivol still have it? If Bivol can rematch and Bivol can get his title back, you're talking about a trilogy. That's big money for both those guys. So I'll watch it. But in terms of like the overall consequence on the sport, not much. We're all waiting to. I mean, we all just saw Canelo sign a 4-fight deal with Turkey, and 4 fights none of us really care to see. Honestly, what's the one fight? One fight. Okay, you tell me if you know about this, but what's the one fight you want to see Canelo take?
A lot of people want to see him fight Terrence Crawford.
Okay, I'll give you the name everyone should want: Benavidez.
Yeah, that's what I want to see him fight David Benavidez.
That's the only one we want. That's what I don't want. I don't want Terrence Crawford about boxing because Canelo's gonna fuck up Terrence Crawford. I don't give a shit who you are. Terrence Crawford is not. That's not skill wise.
There's a reason there's weight classes.
He's too small.
You know. Yeah, and he showed last time when he moved up against Madrimov that the power didn't necessarily translate like it was in lower weight classes. So you go up against a real hard hitter like Canelo.
Right.
I mean, the casual fight fan is going to tune in. That's going to be a massive spectacle. But for people who really enjoy the sport, I think that the more competitive matchup is like you're saying with Benavidez. Yeah,
so we want to see that fight. We're not going to get it for a while if we ever get it. But either way, man, look. The one thing I'll say, I'm a big time Canelo fan, so I put that out there first. But not just because he's from my hometown, but he has earned the right to call his shots. So I'm not knocking the 4-fight deal. Go get paid, get those fights, get 4 easy wins probably, and then maybe the Benavidez fight, maybe the Crawford fight. We'll see. But in terms of boxing goes, like it's kind of stale. To me, it's stale right now. I'm not really, like you said, we're not the biggest boxing fans. We'll watch MMA. Yeah. But I'm definitely gonna watch it. That better be Bivol.
Well, right up our alley, fight fans. We have an exciting fight night this weekend in Seattle with the main event. Former two-weight world champion Henry Cejudo, 16-4, enters this one against Chinese prospect Song Yadong, 21-8-1. 2 losses in a row for Cejudo to top flight competition. Marab and Aljo won 3 in a row before and is 3-2 in his last 5. Now, Henry comes in, with a significant height disadvantage in many fights. In this one, 5'8" for Song Yadong, 5'4" for Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo is 38 years of age, while Song Yadong is 27. But Eddie, to me, this one comes down to one question: can Song Yadong stop the takedowns of the Olympic wrestler Henry Cejudo? If he can, I think that the young prospect is going to have maybe the best night of his career. If he can't, Cejudo might stake his claim back to being into the top 5.
To me, this fight is all about Cejudo. Okay. To me, because this is what we're going to find out if he's done or if he still has something. If he loses to Song Yadong, it's over, dude. It's over. He's not going to get a title shot. He's not going to make his way back. I mean, he could, but how many years is that going to take? How many more fights is that going to take? How many more miles I can put in his body? The guy's a father. He's a businessman. He's all kinds of stuff. Like, he's going to start thinking, like, do I really want to do this shit anymore? He's a great coach, right? But it's like, do I really want to keep doing this? Like, why am I still doing this if it's not for a title? Daniel Cormier, when he retired after he lost the title to Stipe, okay, he said, look, man, I only fight for titles. They're not going to give me a title after this. So I'm done, right? Yeah. Does Henry really want his legacy to be like, he just kept fighting until he got cut? You know what I mean? Like, no, he's not going to do that. So
I think his next loss, he hangs it up. He's got a successful podcast right now that our colleague Dylan Russ produces. And he does it with Kamaru Usman, pound for pound, I believe it's called. And Henry Cejudo's a great speaker as well. We saw him with Mike Tyson, and he's got stuff going on for him outside the cage as well. He's got a family. But he is a competitor at the end of the day, and he does want to win world championships. I think that if he beats Song Yadong, it maybe gives him a new lease on life and more rejuvenation going into this one. Now, he was probably pretty deflated after that loss to Merab Dvalishvili, right? But since then, that has not been the worst loss in the world. I know that the sight of him getting picked up and stuff wasn't the greatest, but Merab's done that to Umar. He's gone and he's beaten O'Malley. Like, this guy's very, very good, and there's no shame in that loss to Merab. And the fight with Aljamain Sterling was very close, and it was his first fight back in a considerable amount of time. So I actually like Eddie. I actually like Henry Cejudo in this matchup. I'm going to take Henry Cejudo by decision. He is a very significant underdog this weekend, minus 290 for Song Yadong, according to Las Vegas odds makers, almost 3-1. Who are you taking, Eddie? I'm going to ride with Cejudo this weekend.
First of all, shout out to Dylan Rush. I love that guy. He's a winner. He's fucking awesome kid, and everything he's getting, he deserves 100%.
Yep.
That being said, if Cejudo isn't successful, he'll be successful in the first 2 rounds, I think, with the takedowns. And I think he should try to finish that fight. I'm curious to see what Cejudo looks like in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round with a younger, bigger, honestly stronger, probably Song Yadong, a guy that can counter, a guy that hits like a truck, the guy that can put you out, a guy that trains, and correct me if I'm wrong, with Alpha Male, Team Alpha Male. Just a gym full of wrestlers, has Cejudo size. Yeah. Maybe not Olympic, right? But still.
He's got Uriah Faber in there teaching him and stuff too. One of the best in the game, one of the best 100%. Minds. Well.
So it to me is Cejudo's fight to lose. Okay, he's got the experience, he's got the grit, the metal, and all that. I know Song Yadong has more fights professionally, but we know that doesn't really mean a lot, right? When it comes to the UFC.
Yeah.
But in terms of this fight, if Cejudo can get the takedowns early and all that, and basically demoralize and break Song Yadong, which he has the ability to do, he'll win. But I think Song Yadong's gonna rise to the occasion, and I think he'll probably pull off a decision win. I think I got him by decision. All that being said, if Cejudo wins it, man, y'all watch out. Give that man the microphone. Get the hell out the way.
Yep. Could be a sight to see if Henry Cejudo wins, and a revitalizing win for his career, or it could be the biggest win in the young career of Song Yadong. So a lot on the line this weekend in the UFC main event. Moving on down the card here to the co-main event, there's a lot on the line in this one too. We've got ranked middleweights, Brendan Allen, 24-6, taking on Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, 13-2. Allen's last 3 fights, he lost to Imavov, but he has beat Chris Curtis and Paul Craig. Before that, Imavov obviously just knocked out former champion Israel Adesanya, so nothing hurt there with that loss. But Anthony Hernandez's last 3, he's on a 6-fight win streak with wins over Michel Pereira, Edmund Shabazian, and Roman Kopylov, top-level names in his last 3 fights that he's gone in there and beat. Who do you like in this one, Eddie? I believe odds makers have Anthony Hernandez as a big favorite this weekend.
I like Fluffy. Fluffy's on a roll, and he hasn't shown everything he has yet. The thing I like about him is he's not jaded by the noise. Brendan Allen listens to the noise, right? Every time it comes to a media day or a post, like, oh, they said this and this, all that stuff. Fluffy, they asked Fluffy about some middleweight fight, whatever. He goes, I don't watch fighting, dog. I train and I fight and I chill. This guy is zoned in on fighting, right? Now, I actually watched their first fight, and Fluffy didn't look right, but he still put it to Brendan Allen, right? Pretty sure Brendan Allen won that fight, but so I don't expect that. I expect him to get his revenge here, to get his win back by finish. I think Fluffy's going to go out there and be like, not only am I going to show you I should have gotten that first win, I'm going to put this guy under the ground and make sure you never have to match him up against me again. There ain't going to be no trilogy here, dog.
Knockout or sub? What do you got?
Sub. Brendan just got finished by sub, right?
Brendan just lost by decision to Imavov.
Didn't he get finished by somebody? Maybe I'm wrong.
I believe he got knocked out by Sean Strickland about 4 or 5 fights ago, I believe.
Yeah, so I'm wrong on that then. Yeah, I think Fluffy by now, mind you, Brendan Allen has a great ground game.
He does. That's what I'm saying. He's got double-digit submission wins himself.
Yeah. Give me Fluffy by TKO. My bad. I don't know why.
I think he could. You never know. And in these fights, maybe later in the rounds, he catches Brennan in some type of scramble too. So submission is on the table as well. Yeah. But I'm actually going to go with Brendan Allen in this one. He's going to be taller by 2 inches. I think he's going to be able to use his frame at times. He's a good competitor. As you mentioned, he has a good ground game as well with Hernandez. I don't know what it is with me and Hernandez. I see him, and I always am picking against him. I picked against him when he fought Pereira and some other people. I just never really think that, he's one of these top 5 guys, and he's proved me wrong every single time. Will he be able to do it again against Brendan Allen this weekend? I don't know, but whoever wins this fight is certainly knocking on the door of a title eliminator in the near future.
100%.
So moving down the card, Eddie's going to take Anthony by TKO. I'm going to take Brendan Allen by decision. Moving along down the card here, we have undefeated prospect Gene Matsumoto taking on New England cartel product and veteran Rob Font. 21-8 for Font, 16-0 for Matsumoto. Matsumoto has had two wins in the UFC over Dan Argueta and Brad Katona. Dan is a good wrestler from the Midwest, but Brad Katona won the UFC comeback tour version of the Ultimate Fighter, and that was really an impressive win in my opinion. Brad is a good, intelligent fighter, very well-rounded, but Rob Font is somebody who has great striking. What do you think about this one? Do you think the young prospect in Gene Matsumoto is going to be too much for Font, or do you think Font can turn back the clock this weekend?
Shoot, if Font can't handle Matsumoto, I'm not saying handle like finish him, but if he can't beat Matsumoto, what are we doing, right? But yeah. No, John Matsumoto, he's good, but he's violent. Rob Font's violent. I'm looking at a clash here right in the middle of the octagon here. It's going to be striking. Someone's going to get bloodied. They're going to get beat up. It's going to be I don't think anyone's going to get finished. But I think I don't know. It's interesting, honestly. This is a hard one for me to pick. If I had to go with anybody, I would go with the experience of Rob Font by decision. But dude, Matsumoto's a dog, dude.
I'm going to take the youth and athleticism of Gene Matsumoto in this one. We just saw it last week, and I hate to rag on these guys because at one point in time, the New England cartel had it rolling, man. They looked like one of the best gyms in the entire world with Font and in Qatar and some other guys they had over there. But it's been a long road here the last couple of years with Font and Qatar aging. They haven't necessarily aged the most gracefully as some fighters that we've seen in the past. I'm going to take the youth and athleticism of Matsumoto in this one. Font is 2-3 in his last 5 contests. He has losses to Sandhagen and Vera. I believe his wins are over Adrian Yanez and Kyler Phillips. Both great prospects. So he's done it before. He's turned back these up and comers. Is he going to be able to do it again this weekend? I think that Father Time has kind of caught up to some of these guys over at the New England cartel, and I'm going to go with Matsumoto. What about you? I'm
going Rob Font. Font, this close decision. In another war, by the way, war Font doesn't need. So, he only took this fight because you don't want to go through all that training camp and not fight, right? It sucks that we didn't get Dominic Cruz. Best of luck, Dominic Cruz, on everything he's gonna do. He's gonna be fine. It sucks that he had to go out the way he did, but yeah. No, by the way, if Dominic Cruz ever comes back, I need that Aldo fight. But that's just me.
Yeah, that's it. That's the last one in my opinion.
On short notice. Don't let that man train. Okay. Get him. Tell Dom, hey, stay in shape.
Just stop in the cage real quick.
Don't train with the fuck. All right. Yeah. We don't want to pop anything before we get in there. Anyway,
it's kind of tough though for Font. You go from someone who's a veteran and you're looking at this clash between two veterans, and maybe you're training hard, but now you got a guy who's 16-0, a young up and comer who you don't have a lot of tape on. How much of an adjustment is that for Font, and do you think that's a big deal?
I don't think it's a big adjustment. I think he knows Matsumoto is gonna just walk forward, right, just like he does. Yeah. I think he's just like, all right, cool. It's gonna be like sparring. Cool, let's do it. Not like sparring in terms of the intensity or what's on the stakes there. It's gonna be a real fight. But in terms of the shit he does all the time in New England cartel, hey, you want to spar? Yeah, cool. And then someone, they end up just going to war. I think it's gonna be that kind of fight. I think to me it's an advantage that he trained for Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz being quicker. He's a quicker fighter than Matsumoto. He's way more experienced, right? And I think Font trained for all that. So now he takes on a less experienced young up-and-comer on super short notice. I think it'd be more of an advantage for him than anything. Matsumoto also always in MMA has a chance, of course. But I like Rob Font with the experience and even with the opponent change, it's just an advantage for Rob, right? We'll see what Matsumoto looks like in the third round. But I expect Rob Font to win it.
Yeah, I'm going to take Matsumoto here. If your guys are, gamblers, there is the double chance option on FanDuel. I'm going to take Matsumoto by submission or points. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be able to submit Rob. Maybe if he gets it done inside the distance, I believe it will be submission. But I'm going to take Matsumoto by decision. Like Eddie said, I think this is going to be a hard-fought competitive matchup. Don't be surprised if this is an all-out war and one you guys won't want to miss. But moving down the card, speaking of all-out wars, somebody who's all action every single time we've seen him in the UFC is Brazil's Gene Silva, 14-2, coming into this one versus Melsik Baghdasaryan. Baghdasaryan is 8-2. Silva has looked like an absolute destroyer so far. He's got an iron chin with a determination to walk his opponents down and a great will to win as well. We saw him knock out Drew Dober and just run through people so far in his UFC run. I have been so impressed with Gene Silva. I think he's one of the brightest prospects that we have in the UFC, period. But he's going to be facing a very good striker in Melsik Baghdasaryan this weekend.
Somebody get Jean Silva on like English. They have him learn English, right?
Hooked on phonics.
Hooked on phonics, whatever it is, dude. Babbel, I don't know what million different things, you know. There's a Mexican one, or a Spanish one way back in the day for English called Inglés Sin Barreras. It's English without barriers. Give him whatever he needs to do. Get him speaking English. And then after he beats the dog shit out of Melsik, who I like, but after he beats the dog shit out of Melsik, who hasn't fought in 8 years because he got super sick. I hope he's better, of course. I'm glad he's better. Let's just, hey man, check it out. Topuria against Silva. Who wants to see someone who wants to see a body?
Yeah, I mean, this guy's just all action, man. It's like
murder. He murders. Yeah. He just let's go.
He's 100 and what are we at? 145 pounds. He's 145 pound Vanderlei Silva. That's how I look at this guy. He fights just like him, just chin down, coming at you.
Out of a great camp,
opening bell.
Out of a great camp with the fighting nerds, dude. Come on, man. Like I tell you right now, he's gonna run through Melsik, in my opinion. Run through Melsik. He'll win the next 2 or 3. When are you gonna? You can't deny that, man. Dude, I would love that match with Topuria. I would love it, just because I know those two would agree.
How would you like Gene Silva versus Josh Emmett?
I like Josh Emmett. I don't want to see Josh Emmett die.
I think that'd be a great fight. Biggest hitter in the entire 145 versus the guy who wants to come forward on it. Is he going to run into the right hand? I mean, that'd be a great.
That'd be a great fight for John Silva. I like that Emmett, but Josh Emmett's going to get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah,
right. And he's by the way, Josh accepts that possibility when he fights. It's no question about it.
And Josh went to war with Topuria too. He went the distance, 5 rounds. Go back and watch that one.
Super hard to do. Now, you know what? You're absolutely right. Run through Melsik. All right, run through Melsik, and then get the Josh Emmett matchup, and let's just fast forward over to Topuria because I think he beats Emmett in a hard fight, but he beats Emmett, and then he fights Topuria. And I don't even care who wins that. In fact, if that fight ever happens, I'm not even going to make a pick for you, all right? I'm not. I'm just going to sit here and be like, I don't care. I choose violence.
Yeah, it's fight of the night. No matter
what. Violence. Just violence. Fight of the year maybe in that point, but I just want violence.
Gene Silva in this one by submission. I think he probably tries to get this one to the ground. I think Melsik's pretty good on the feet. I think the easiest path to victory is to take Melsik down and submit him. But Gene is somebody who likes to run into the fire. So we'll have to see if Melsik has anything for him on the feet. But I'm going to go with Gene Silva by submission in this one.
Gene Silva by TKO.
All right. We both got the prospect from Brazil, Gene Silva. We do have a comment here versus Cody Noah. Oh, man. If Gene fought Cody Garbrandt right now, if Gene Silva fought Cody Garbrandt right now, that should be a win.
Hey, man. Why you hate Cody so much, dog?
That should be a win.
Come on, man. He didn't do nothing to you. I know people think he's kind of douchey, but I've met him once. He's a pretty nice guy. Why you hate on him, bro? You want to see why? He's got a family.
Minus 650 for Gene Silva this weekend in this matchup. Me and Eddie both have him by finish. Eddie's got him by knockout. I've got him by submission. Moving on down the card, though, we do have an interesting light heavyweight matchup as well. Ion the Hulk Cutelaba returns 18-10 versus Ibo Aslan, who comes into this one at 14-1. Aslan has looked on an absolute tear over his UFC run here. Cutelaba is always aggressive and brings a level of intensity to his fights that have fight fans, very excited and looking forward to seeing him compete. But he's going to be facing a great counter striker in Aslan this weekend. One thing that, I had to remind myself coming into this one is that Ion Cutelaba is good on the ground as well. I picked against him in some matchups previously where he surprised me and been able to take guys down over the course of 15 minutes and really ride out wins. I think that's his path to victory in this one. If he comes forward aggressively like normal, I think that's a recipe for disaster against the counter striker Ibo Aslan, who's got power in his hands. If he wants to get knocked out, I think coming at him aggressively on the feet is the way to do it. I think the smart path for Cutelaba is to take this fight to the ground. We're going to see what Aslan's got in takedown defense this weekend. But if it stays standing, I like Aslan by knockout.
I like Aslan by knockout too. Jan Cutelaba is like a oh, you like Cody? All right, my bad. So you want to see Cody? Okay, Cody against Silva. Look, man, I wouldn't. Nah, dude, I don't want to see Cody get messed up, bro. I'm sorry. Anyway, but I get your, why you would support him. Jan is like a wrestler that shows up to his first day of jiu-jitsu and just head first into the guard and then gets like choked out. Okay. He's all go, and that's great, right? Even when he goes takedowns, it's almost like he just leaves his head out to get jacked up, right? And the counter striker like Ivo is gonna like, it's just like a pizza party for him. Like, yeah, I'll take some of that. Bow. How about this? And Jan could take some damage, not forever, right? So, and Jan comes out with the usual stuff. It's like, oh, I got something new for him. But he said that before, and he did the same shit he always does. And it is what it is. And by the way, I like Jan Cutelaba, right? When he first came into the UFC, he was super violent. That was fun as hell to watch. But bro, Ivo showed up to meet it with his gloves on, man.
Did he?
Yeah, he showed up. They were on. I think they were taped too, because they look like shiny tape on his wrists, right? Like he showed up to me today, grabbed the microphone, fucking gloves on, and I'm like, oh shit, Jan better not catch him in the fucking hallway. Let's go, right? Yeah. But and then I forgot. I want to say it was Oscar. Someone asked him, either Oscar or James Lynch asked him, what are you gonna do if Jan screams in your face? And Ibo was like, I'm gonna slap him. Bro, first of all, don't do that if you want to get paid to fight. But damn, all right. Yeah. Like,
he's gonna do that. I hate to break it to you. He's gonna do that at the weigh-ins.
He's gonna scream. So let's like I hope someone in the UFC goes like after he said that shit in the media is like, hey man, no, fuck all that. Don't do that. I know it's funny and everything. Slap him in the fight, please. Don't slap him in because if you don't want to fight, slap him. Go ahead. But either way, I think Ibo's a very, very good fucking light heavyweight. So
yeah, 6'3", good frame to him, good counter striker, good power. I got Ibo Aslan in this one.
Yeah, me too. But Ibo has the physical capability to be really good at 205. He's not short. All right, he's got the weapons. The ground game.
We haven't seen it yet. That's what I was mentioning. That's the thing that I think this fight's going to determine. Can Cutelaba get him to the ground? Cutelaba is not one of these guys that's credentialed as a grappler or some combat sambo or wrestling champion, but he's a very gritty competitor and tries to get fights to the ground pretty often. Do you think he's going to have success at some points on the ground in this one?
Young will. He will. But Ibo should be able to well, look, I think Ibo's got to have some kind of ground game, right? So we're going to find out. Because Jan's thing is going to be, blast and go for the double, right? And if he gets it, great. If he doesn't, oh, shit. And if it's going to be, it's on Ibo at that point.
Yep. I agree, too. We both got Aslan this weekend by knockout. Moving on to the last fight of the night that we're going to be talking about. This is a very interesting matchup as well. Former contender Ricky Simón, 20-6. He's going to be facing Javid Basharat, who's 14-1. Basharat is obviously has a brother who competes in the UFC as well. Both of them are top competitors. Basharat just lost to Alzamin Zahabi and struggled with his length in that fight, but he is 4-1 in his last 5 contests. He's not going to have to worry about the length of Ricky Simón, who is a good wrestler and who is aggressive moving forward from start to finish. Simón averages 5 takedowns per fight, but has lost 3 in a row to Vinicius Oliveira, Mario Batista, and Song Yadong. Now, those are great names, but I do have Javad Basharat in this one. I think he's got more ways to win. I think if he can keep his back off of the canvas and stop some of the takedowns of Ricky Simón, he's really going to eat him up at distance with leg kicks and a jab. He's a very tricky customer himself, and that was a close fight with Amin Zahabi that he did lose. So what do you think about this matchup? Eddie, do you like the wrestling of Ricky Simón, or do you like the well-roundedness of Javid Basharat? I
like the roundedness. I like Javid here. Ricky, like you said, Ricky's a wrestler, and he's a very relentless wrestler. He's high energy, push the pace, go. He chain wrestles, right? So his takedown, that one didn't, double leg didn't work, so it's a single. Single didn't work, let's try to trip. Trip didn't work, let's get behind him and try to drag him out. Let's try to drag him down. Whatever you got to do. The thing is, Basharat has the ability to stop that, right? So can at that point, if the takedowns fail, can Ricky strike with them? I don't think so. I think Ricky's going to be doing the old wrestler overhand right if he gets in trouble. Now, that might land, it might work. Who knows, right? But I think Basharat has got that last loss has to sting a lot. That first one always stings, right? So he's going to have to come back and just find a way to make it happen at that point, right? And we'll have to wait and fucking sorry, I just saw the comment on here. I'm assuming they're talking about Jamal Hill, right? Kuchelava versus Hill, loser goes to the shadow realm. I'm with you on that. Let's do it.
I want to see Jamal Hill fight Khalil Roundtree. They've just been beefing a little bit online. I think Jamal said that there's no way that he knocks him out. I want to see that matchup real bad.
You all want to see Hill die. What the fuck?
I mean, he asked for it, man. He goes in there. He's asking for Pereira. He's asking for all these guys saying they're light work. You got to prove it. You want to sit there and open your mouth. Boy. This is the tough guy business. And Jamal Hill's a tough guy, but the guys that he's fighting are as well, too. At least recently, he hasn't been able to, but those last two losses were to former champions or, one, the current champion and then, the former champion. So I don't know. It's not like Hill's taking bad losses, but they are devastating knockouts.
But they're losses nonetheless. We know in the UFC, when you get to that third one, damn, he cannot lose the next one. Anyway, but I get it. But yeah, I'm down with that shadow realm shit for sure. That's funny. But yeah, this one, Javid by decision probably.
That's what I got too. I think he's going to be able to pick him apart at range and use his well-roundedness throughout the fight, stops the takedowns. I've got Javid Basharat in this one by decision as well. Thanks for joining us, fight fans. We're going to catch you next Tuesday here, and we will recap everything from UFC Fight Night Seattle, bring any breaking news to you guys, and look ahead at any cards that are going to be happening, boxing or MMA next weekend. Thanks for joining us.